Hello, and welcome to the Off the Track podcast, episode 3. Yeah, 3. Today we're talking about Vettel, the news that Vettel is going to Aston Martin to replace Sergio Perez. I'll start us off by saying I do like the move. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see Vettel. Well, he's already been in the midfield this year, but in another kind of top midfield team. He'll be battling with probably Alonso in the Renault, Ricciardo in the McLaren. I think it'll be interesting to see that.
McLaren, Ferrari.
Yeah. Hopefully Ferrari will kick on a bit, but obviously the thing that annoys me a little bit is that Perez is getting kicked out of the team that he's done so much for, that he's always been consistent for, and even someone like Hulkenberg can't get that chance either. For me, a lineup of Perez and Hulkenberg would be stronger than Vettel and Stroll. But I'll go into more detail in that in a minute. But I'll give you two a chance to give your kind of overall impressions.
Alright, well, I think that it's obviously exciting. I don't think anyone wanted Vettel to retire, purely because he's just a big name in the sport and no one wants to kind of see that level of driver leave, really. I think, to put it bluntly, Perez has been absolutely shafted. Considering he only found out the night before that he wouldn't be driving for them anymore.
I know it's
It's
crazy
a little bit unfair.
Perez kept saying, "Oh, I'm definitely staying. I'm definitely staying." It makes no sense how all of a sudden he doesn't have a contract.
I think it makes it more unfair because I think from a driver's standpoint, he's kind of single-handedly saved the team in a way that I don't think we've really seen before, in terms of taking kind of the initiative to get all his sponsors on board and basically pump money into the team to keep people's jobs and to keep the team running, and then they've just kind of done him dirty.
I wouldn't say Perez saved the team, but he's always been there.
He's been influential with the Mexican sponsors that he's brought in.
That's true. He has a big fan base in Mexico.
And I just think I understand why Stroll stayed, like I do. But yeah, I think from a driver's perspective, you want to see the best in each team, and I think that Perez has obviously got more ability.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same as both of you. I'm excited to see Vettel in F1 still, because I still think he could probably kick on and be better than what he's been in the last few years. But it's just a shame to see Perez the one that was gonna get kicked out of the team. And obviously, I think everyone knew that it would be Perez, but it's just very unfair when you consider the caliber of driver he is compared to someone like Stroll. He's been pretty good this season for his standards, but he's not on Perez's level. I don't think. I think it's just a shame.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the race results this year, I mean, obviously Stroll got the podium in Monza, a bit lucky, but podium's a podium. And then he got 2 fourth places, a 6th place finish, and I think he's on paper he's scored higher points per race, really, on average than Perez.
Well, that's something I wanna talk about, because if you look at the season on the results, it does look like Stroll has been stronger, but from watching it, I just can't see that Stroll is a stronger driver. Perez has been unlucky with strategies. Obviously, he had Corona. He missed the 2 races when they had a strong car. Stroll. A couple of Stroll's good results, like Monza. He should have won that race. He had the best strategy perfectly. Gasly had pitted. Stroll hadn't pitted when the red flag came out. Stroll had a much better strategy, quicker car. He should have won Monza, really. He had the best chance to win that. Yeah. So that podium isn't overperforming. For me, that's slightly underperforming.
Yeah, I mean, he did fuck up the start massively, and I think one thing I've picked up on is if you put Perez in that exact same scenario, would he have made the same mistake? I don't think he would have done.
I think Perez would have won that race. But that's all speculative. But what is certain is that last season, Perez absolutely dominated Stroll. And, we can say Stroll's improved this season. I definitely think he has. But it's not enough to say that he's a stronger driver than Perez. And even Hulkenberg came in, and it'd be hard to argue that Hulkenberg wasn't stronger. Again, he got shafted with the strategy. I'm not saying Racing Point are shafting, the other drivers, Hulkenberg or Perez, on purpose, but they've definitely been less lucky with strategies than Lance has. And I think most drivers wouldn't have had 5 years of mediocrity or however long he's had to be able to get up to speed like this. The Stroll money thing isn't. I won't go too much into that right now.
It does certainly seem like he's got a helping hand, kind of pushing him along.
There are worse drivers in F1, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple, but he definitely. When people like Hulkenberg are out of F1, and it looks like Perez might be out of F1 next year. It's a shame. It's a shame.
I don't think Perez will leave Formula One because
I really hope not.
I think he is likely to go to Alfa Romeo. It's a bit of a shame because I think he's one of these drivers that probably deserves a top seat. Not maybe a top seat, but the top midfield, and he's going to a team which is pretty much at the back, because I think either Raikkonen will retire purely because he's not really getting the same satisfaction as what he would. Obviously, that other seat is a Ferrari junior team seat, so that's out of the question. And I just don't think Grosjean's really feeling it anymore. I think he might retire at the end of the season, and I think they might kick Magnussen out.
I doubt someone like Grosjean would just retire from F1. I think he's going to be there to make that money as long as possible. But what I will say is, it would be an absolute travesty and a real, completely baffling.
It'd just be a massive fuck up, basically.
If Haas kept Magnussen and Grosjean over drivers like Perez and Hulkenberg. It's insane to say that Grosjean and Magnussen would be stronger in that car than Perez and Hulkenberg. Aside from top drivers like Verstappen, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Leclerc, Vettel maybe, Perez and Hulkenberg are really at the top of that midfield, and Grosjean and Magnussen really aren't. So yeah. Will, what do you see in the future for Perez?
Yeah, I think he hopefully will go to Haas. I don't think he'll go to Alfa Romeo. I don't know why, I just don't think he will, but I think he'll surely get a job somewhere. He's just but then you say that about Hulkenberg, and he didn't get a job last season, so who knows really. And there's quite a few younger drivers coming through maybe next season who might get the drives instead of him, but we'll just have to see, I suppose.
Come to think of it, another baffling one is Raikkonen at Alpha. I know everyone loves Kimi, and he's a legend of the sport, and he was a great driver, but now I think it's fair to say he's lost his edge. He's not the same Kimi, and they're paying him a lot of money to drive probably slower than a good young driver could for less money. Maybe Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg isn't that young, but
it's not
just
even,
an example.
It's not even worth having. You could have Hamilton in that car, and it just wouldn't make a difference. They still wouldn't get points. So it's pointless even having a massive name, really, in that Alpha.
That's true.
I just wanted to touch on the potential of Aston Martin, really. I don't think...
Yes, that's it. I was going to say, we haven't talked much about what Vettel could do in Aston.
I think because of brand and the name that Aston Martin brings, it's going to bring more sponsorship, more money to the table, and I think they've already got a really good platform in that team Racing Point to build upon. I think they're obviously going to be heavily funded, I think, by Aston Martin, and obviously we know Aston Martin use Mercedes engines and technology in their road cars, which I think will carry over as well. So I just think that they're already doing well. I think they have an even greater platform to push off onto having more financial stability.
Yeah, well, we know they'll be good next season because the cars are carried over from this season. What I'm really excited to see is what they do with the new rule changes, because they can't copy Mercedes, basically, is what I'm getting at. Because no one will have seen the Mercedes yet. So, yeah, well, Force India, as they were in their previous incarnation, were always a good team at producing a top midfield car. They were never really off the boil. So I back them to make a good, strong midfield contender, but I really am excited to see how they do with a basically a non-Mercedes copy as it is this year. I mean, it's a discussion. Yeah. It's another whole nother discussion how much of a Mercedes copy it is. For me, it is a almost, it's a Mercedes copy for me. So yeah, I'll be excited to see how the first real full car is that they've made themselves in 2022.
Yeah, I think they're a team that's always operated on a smaller budget as well. It's going to be interesting to see them operating at what you would think would be a higher budget given the Aston Martin name.
Yeah, well, there's the budget cap as well, so
that could play into their hands as well, to be honest.
Exactly, that's what I was just about to say. Come to think of it, they've always been possibly the most cost-efficient team.
Yeah, really. Like pound for pound kind of thing.
Yeah, along with, Haas have done it in the past, not so much now. And Williams did it in like 2014, 15. But Force India, Racing Point, Aston Martin, it's all the same team pretty much. They've always been good at that, getting a lot from a small budget. And actually, the budget cap could have them looking at the championship, maybe with Renault and McLaren as well. I'm excited for the budget cap in general. Actually, we'll have to do a talk all about the budget cap itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting to see how they'll do with that. I guess we'll start wrapping this up now. I'll say lastly, what are we thinking with Vettel Aston Martin overall? I don't know how long he'll be there, but are we looking at wins? Are we looking at championships? Are we looking at podiums?
I think it's a bit too early to say. I think because he's got the ability to, I think he's obviously more consistent than Stroll at least. I think he's got the potential to put it on a podium. I think he's got the ability. It's just whether or not they can make a better car for him to be able to do it, really. So time will tell, in my opinion. I think it's too early for them to say that they can win championships.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, what do you think?
I think there'll be podium contenders for certain races.
All right, Will?
I think they'll probably. I feel like they'll suffer the syndrome of all Venom and stuff like that, and just kind of struggle to break into the top three. Although Ferrari aren't even in the top three at the moment. But I think they'll struggle, and I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure if they'll be able to crack it. I think they might get a couple of podiums, but I don't think they'll kind of do it on pace, if you get what I mean.
Mm.
So I think they'll just become a top midfield team. I don't think they'll ever be good enough to win a championship or something like that.
Yeah, for me, I think Vettel will get a lot of some podiums, and I think he could win races in Aston Martin. I see a couple wins here and there, but yeah, probably not a title. I think Vettel's title days might just be gone. Sadly, that he's. For me, he's always been slightly overrated, but he's definitely not in his prime anymore. He could get a new lease of life out of Ferrari. We've seen that before. But another thing quickly is the Vettel-Stroll matchup. I think most of us are saying Vettel will beat him, but with Stroll's rate of improvement, I think he could have him on a few weekends.
Yeah, you never know when Daddy Stroll might slip a few notes into Vettel's pocket. So can you please be a bit shit today, thanks.
Because we know Vettel has off weekends, off seasons, a few spins here and there. So
Spinella.
It's actually pronounced Spinella. I'll have you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, mate. I know the Italian lingo, so
That pretty much sums it up, I think.
yeah, I think we've covered that. So thank you for listening. I was gonna say we'll do a race review of the next race, but Mugello will
It's
probably
not
be
guaranteed.
wank, so
See you next time.
not. Yeah, if there's a good race or if there's some news, we'll be there. If the race is shit, we won't. So yeah, goodbye.